Welcome to the channel. Today we'll answer how do we connect Slack and Salesforce as existing customers of both systems. Let's dive in. You're already a Slack customer, you're already a Salesforce customer, and now you just need to connect the two systems. I call this a ping pong back and forth that requires both a Slack admin and a Salesforce admin, and maybe they're the same person, but it starts in Slack. What you need to do is go into Manage Salesforce Organizations and go ahead and just click Get Started. What you're going to do is go into Salesforce and grab the URL from the page. Okay, and we'll just paste that in here. And there's a couple options that you have that we're going to go through piecemeal here. So if you want to map your user accounts automatically, what this means is you're saying we want to automatically identify who in Slack matches who in Salesforce. And we're going to do that through matching a certain qualifier or a certain field on the Slack user. So let's pick email in this case. The Salesforce side will get to choose when we have the Salesforce admin complete their step in the process. All right. And so the next item that you can do here is really just toggling on or off a prompt or a card that shows up very prevalently in the UI for folks who are not automatically mapped and need to enter in their username and password, right? So you'd like to auto map users if you just want them to be connected and not have to enter their username and password. We'll go through a scenario of one that does get connected and one that doesn't. So, okay, we're connecting our Salesforce org. So here's where we're ping-ponging back to the Salesforce admin. All right, and if you go into setup and type in manage Slack connection, what you'll see is that request has come across over here. And because we have that auto mapping, it's going to let us say, do you want to map this to your Slack user's email? Do you want to map that to your Salesforce user email or to the Federation ID field? Now let's take a look. And as you can see, I've mapped my Slack user's email to my Federation ID field. All right, this is going to be the unique identifier. Let's agree to the terms and approve. And once again, we are ping-ponging back over to the Slack admin setup once that completes so we can finish the activation. So back over here, click OK. I'm just going to refresh this screen so you can see that the Slack admin is going to get a notification and say, all right, let me go ahead and click View Details and activate this connection. Okay, so the mapping, we're saying email in Slack to Federation ID in Salesforce. If I go look at the users tab right here. So when we did that process, any user in our Salesforce who had a matching email address to their Federation ID in Salesforce would have been found and added here. Now, I'm in a small demo org, so I'm not really finding that much. But how about if you didn't find a match and you know you want someone to be able to use the Slack and Salesforce integration? What we're saying here, what this table is a list of Slack users that you're saying, we want this person to be able to authenticate to Salesforce. All right, so Frank Fox, we want you to use Slack and Salesforce together, okay? Now, because this person was not auto-authenticated, we are going to have them use they're going to have to OAuth and authenticate themselves, right? They're going to have to enter in their username and password or follow single sign-on, whichever it may be. And when you see, when we did this earlier, what we're going to see when we go look at this user, and I'm going to refresh the window, they're supposed to be getting a giant banner that says, hey, go log in. And I think it's because of the trial version that I'm on. So you can go to Preferences, Salesforce, click the sign in button, and that's going to lead you to the Salesforce sign in page where this user can authenticate with their username and password and eventually be connected. So that's the role of the Slack admin and the Salesforce admin in integrating the two systems. That's the user experience for actually getting connected, whether you're auto-mapped or manually provisioned. But lastly, what's the point of all that? Why do we go through that effort? It's so that way your users can interact with their list views directly in Slack, right? The ability to then go look at individual records and be able to not just see your list views, not just drill in and see other details and fields of the records, but also be able to update records, for example, right? And pass those back into Salesforce in real time. See related lists of other records in Salesforce, right? So this is bringing all of that Salesforce context directly into Slack, so that way you don't have to go log into the Salesforce UI just to make quick updates, right? So one is the ability to see your list views. You can also search for your records. I think maybe is Edge Communications an object or something like that. No, if I filter down, there it is. Okay. So I can search for my Salesforce records directly from the Slack global search bar. And once we configure notifications from Salesforce, those will appear here as well.